process of increasing in size. A feature that is both individual, intrinsic, and throughout nature.
This is going to be so interesting, you know.
This is the moment we have been waiting for.
I'm feeling it now.
What has come before is now consigned to the history books. This new decade brings new challenges, new rivals, falling giants, and new beginnings.
Bang, bang, bang! 3 shots to the heart.
Oh,
at the back end.
Oh no!
Those who are climbing will meet. Who will fall by the wayside, and who will embody growth.
There's still wheel to wheel!
That is unbelievable.
Season 3, League of Europe, Grow or Fade.
Welcome to the League of Europe. We are here for the Season 3 car reveals for each division, for Division 1, for Division 2, for Division 3, and for Division 4. My name is Jake, in case you guys don't know me by now. I'm joined with myself. I have got a certain Irishman of Mr. Gary Donegan.
Hello.
I have got one that claims to be Irish but isn't, Mr. Eloy Mark.
Top of the morning to you.
And someone who is as southern as I am, but probably wants to count himself as a bit north, Mr. Larkin.
Hello.
So,
At least northern hello I've ever heard. Hi.
So for, as I said, for the Season 3 car reveals today, it's mainly just we've already put everyone into divisions from last video, which you can probably just check out. I'll leave it in the description or something like that. But this one is the actual car picks. Now, real quick before we do go ahead and say anything, a few guys that didn't end up getting their car picks, you know, it's more of we try to pay you up with as many people as we could, with as many car picks as you could. There was a couple people that couldn't get their actual car picks, and a couple people that couldn't get their, they got their teammate. It was just more they couldn't get any of their free car choices that they sent in to us, because there were a couple cars that no one actually decided they wanted to go in. So we've tried to allocate them as best as we possibly could for you guys, and yeah, I guess we're going to get stuck straight into it. We are going to start with D4, so Mark will be running us through that on...
Obviously a lot of new guys in this division. And yeah, it's been very interesting to see how this is kind of clubbed together and who is teaming with who. We will start with the team of Ferrari. And that team will be 2 people that I do believe know each other, which is Smitsky and Don's steering wheel, getting their first choice. Organisers' rights, not always going to be the theme of this podcast, by the way. No, great. And I think it'll be a good team. I don't know much about Don, but Smitsky says he's about as quick as him, so... That's a very good team. Second team is 2 people that didn't choose a teammate, but have a car pick in common, which is the McLaren. So that's Dave Jarvu and Ryan B, both Division 3 veterans. Should hopefully be around the same kind of pace as well, I think. So another evenly matched team, which is nice. Yeah, and they'll be racing in the McLaren. On to, I believe these guys teamed last season. Jasper and Cloudy Cloud. Am I right in saying that?
Yeah.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah. They will be in the Black Panther that is the Haas. So I personally love that car, so I'm looking forward to seeing good things. Jasper, for me, I want to see him on a podium. I want to see good old Frank going crazy in the chat. Yeah, and Cloudy Cloud shows some good pace here and then. I've done a couple of practice sessions with like lobbies, and yeah, he seems to have picked up the pace a bit actually. So yeah, they'll be enjoying the Haas. On to a perhaps now kind of becoming an iconic duo. In the same way that, yeah, you know, like the same way as Sir Ribbo and Fab 10 Fitness was a few seasons ago. But Sir Ribbo and Ghost are staying together, and they're staying together in the Williams. So the LOE constructors champions for jointly, obviously with the D2 and D1 guys. They're going to be defending their crown in Division 4. Just as a quick one, I think Ghost is a bit of an outsider. His pace seems to have picked up. I think he could do quite well this season.
I think he put on or changed it from full TC to medium TC, so I think he's picked up his pace quite drastically from that. And I mean, at some points, like towards the end of the last season, he was almost challenging to try and get a podium. So to be honest, Ghost could be a favourite along with maybe Dave and Smitsky, even Jasper as well. But again, it's also looking out on what the other guys can do.
Yeah, and on that we have Craigie Affer, who was a reserve last season, he's been teamed with, I should say, Morpee, and they're going to be driving the Mercedes. I believe they had common picks with that, so that's good for them. They both get a car they enjoy. And hopefully, again, I can't speak too much on Morpee, but yeah, hopefully that can be a nice team up there. We move on to the next team with Slayer, and he will be teaming with someone who obviously likes teaming with Dutch guys, which is Maka, and they will be driving the Alfa Romeo, which I believe, again, a common pick. I understand these guys have actually chosen to team, which is great. Slayer did race in the 24-hour stream, I believe. I'd ask if you remember, Jacob, but I imagine you've got post-traumatic stress from that event.
No, he did race in a 24-hour race, yeah.
Yeah,
a couple guys have come over from the 24-hour race that are in each division as well, so it's good that we managed to get some traction from that.
Yeah, and good to see him in. Maka, can he actually, he's quick on his day. Can he actually get some good results, and can he have the staying power as well? So let's see with those guys. But yeah, nice pair in there. We've got MMI Kieran and Meh Ryan, and they picked a fourth choice, and bit of a rookie error because they've got their fourth choice, which is the Red Bull. Looking forward to seeing those guys. Two new chaps, and I've seen Kieran a lot in the chat. Seems quite invested, so looking forward to seeing those guys and seeing what they can do. The next guys, again, two guys that are very active in the chat, been put together, and they've been put together in the Renault, and that is Rajan and Calvin Christian. So looking forward to seeing what they can do. And also now on to the guy that basically said, I don't care who I team with. So he's got a bit of the Kimi Raikkonens about him already, which is Nick V7, an upgrade on V5. And Alt Maverick. So we've got the Maverick and the Maverick together, which is going to be quite interesting, and they're going to be in the Toro Rosso. And another, I believe, driver from the 24-hour series, which is Hilding Wilding. Good luck either on that one. And Muppen. And they will be in the Racing Point. Those guys didn't, I believe, get exactly what they wanted, but they were the unfortunate ones to miss out. But yeah, looking forward to seeing what those guys can do. I think Hilding Building was actually quite competitive as well in moments in that 24-hour stream from memory. So looking forward to seeing how this one kind of plays out. And yeah, just an interesting division. Obviously, this will be the inaugural D4 winner, whoever gets this. So yeah, very intriguing. I'm looking forward to this season for these guys.
Yeah, for sure. And obviously, do you reckon that they're going to be any favourites at all, Mark?
Oh, it's tough for the new guys, isn't it? It's really tough for the new guys. But from the guys I know, I would probably say it's tough actually. Really tough. I'd probably say Smitsky will be a favourite. I would say potentially Dave, Ghost Recon, but I it wouldn't surprise me at all if two of the, there's 2 or 3 of the new guys are actually at the real sharp end. If you had to nail me for a prediction for champion, I'd probably say Smitsky.
Okay.
I'd agree with that.
Well, you reckon the same as well, Gary?
Yeah, I'd say Sminsky. Only because Mac can't finish, so. If Mac could finish, he probably would, but yeah, he can't, so.
Larkin, you got any take on this?
I haven't got a clue about any of their pace, to be honest. I think we all want to see Ibo do well, so we'll be keeping an eye on him, but other than that, I've got no idea.
Fair enough. I mean, I'd probably also say similar to what you said as well, Mark. Of course, obviously we want to see Evo and Ghost do well. And to be honest with you, I actually do see Ghost as a favourite to maybe win this. Another one as well that I've raced a couple times is Kieran. He can be pretty quick on his day as well. So it's just keeping it consistent along on that 50%er, because usually just race him in 5 laps. But keeping it consistent in the 50%er, he can be quite quick. So again, another one we'll have to try and keep our eye out on. But yeah, that rounds it up for Division 4. Now moving on to Division 3, which I will be doing that myself. So we'll get started on board with the Mercedes team. We have got the pairing of Tiggerby and MCR. As I said, they'll both be in the Mercedes. Tiggerby getting his first car choice, but MCR didn't exactly get any choices into us, so we've had to pair him up with Tiggerby. Obviously, these guys have raced with each other, against and with each other in the past, so we'll keep our eye out on D3 to see how these guys do. Moving on to the next team, we have got the Ferraris of Starja and Aledi. So Starja coming down from D2 from last season, along with Tiggerby as well, and Aledi D3 last season was sort of within the top 5, maybe top 7 of those guys. So again, another pairing we'll have to keep our eye out on. I know Aledi can be pretty quick as well. I think he won 1 race in D3 last season. So again, one we definitely will have to keep our eye out on. Moving on to the Red Bull team, we have got James and we've got Tiger. Tiger being a new sign-up, James obviously being a contender for D3 champ last season, is now going to try and see if he can try and take it for the 3rd time for Division 3. Unfortunately, he still hasn't actually managed to win one as of yet. He was close in in Season 1 and close in Season 2, but just got edged out by his, or by quite a few other guys, their pace throughout the season. But yeah, James, again, one we'll have to keep an eye on. As I said, I don't really know about Tiger's pace that much. I don't know if anybody else here knows anything about Tiger's pace.
No, I have no idea.
Nope.
I don't. He's a bit of an unknown to me.
Yeah, so that pairing is one we'll have to keep our eye out on. We'll definitely try and see if we can have a little bit of a scope out on that. Moving on to the next team, which are going to be, as Mark likes to call them, the Black Panther team, which is going to consist of the Welshman of Ivor Bryn Mike and the Scotsman of Tun Albernac. So this pairing, I would either say, is this one or another pairing, which is going to be revealed later on, are probably my favourites to try and win the win the constructors. Tun, I know, it can be very quick at certain tracks, and it's just a bit inconsistent. And same with Mike. So as long as they both get consistent at the tracks that they're not particularly consistent at, then I feel like I don't see anybody else actually winning out the constructors other than, as I said, another team which I'll reveal a bit later on. But Tun coming down from D2 to D3 this season. Mike obviously staying in D3 this season as well. I know he has moved over to the wheel instead of being on the pad this season. So again, it's one we'll have to keep our eye out on. A lot of these guys will have to try and keep our eye on, because a majority of them obviously, half of the grid moved down from Division 2 last season. So as I said, that's how quick the grids have actually improved. So we'll have to keep our eye out on a few of these guys in D3, see how they opt from the guys that obviously dropped down from D2 for last season. But moving on swiftly to the next team, which are going to be the banana cars, as I like to call them, of the Renaults. We have got Bree and we've got McDutchface, both guys that moved down from Division 2 last season. So, Bree, I know also can be. I think there's certain tracks that he is very good at, which he can try and keep up with the top guys in Division 2. But Dutchface, I haven't really seen too much of him, to be completely honest with you, from last season. I'm not gonna lie, I was expecting a little bit more from him last season, but that's obviously why he's now in Division 3. We'll have to keep our eye out on Dutchface to see how he gets on. I don't know if any of you guys have got any say on this pairing between Bree and Dutchface, because I know we obviously raced them last season, Mark.
Two of the nicest guys, I think, that I've had experience with. I mean, Dutchface obviously is a beast on GT Sport, and I think he'll do a lot better in a grid that isn't as intimidating as perhaps last season. So, and again, be the same. I think perhaps their biggest issue was confidence towards the end of last season. So I really like this team. I really like them.
Yeah, no, for certain. Again, we have to just keep our eye on and see how these guys get on. Moving on to the papaya-coloured cars of the McLaren, we have got the Breadbank and we have got Wakursk. Both of these guys in Division 3 last season. Breadbank I've joined, I think, halfway through and was already basically showing the pace that he was capable of doing. And Wakursk picking up his pace towards the end of last season, so we'll see how he ends up getting on with the Breadbank as well in Division 3. Again, and also matching up with the guys that came down from Division 2. Next team we've got on that one, we have got the Toro Rosso of Bones and Packer. So Bones again coming down from D2 last season, and same with Packer actually as well. So these guys, Packer was sort of mid-pack and same, no pun intended, and same with Bones. The both of those guys were sort of majority of time mid to bottom end of D2. So coming into D3 along with obviously a few of the other D3 guys that were in it from last season. Again, another one we'll have to try and keep our eye on. I did say there was only one team that I feel like that could challenge Mike and Ton, but there were actually two. One of them being this next team, which is the Racing Point guys of Velocity and Educ. So these guys both Velocity coming down from D2 last season, Educ from D3. Educ was actually keeping up with the likes of Adri, likes of Big W, Nico as well from last season. And knowing these guys, they are pretty quick. Educ is definitely pretty quick. Velocity, I know he's dropped all of his assists, so he's looking to see if he can try and pick up the pace again without these assists. But they obviously they managed to get their first choice of the Racing Point, so nicely done to those guys. Second to last team we've got are going to be the Alfa Romeo guys of Unsafe Release and DJ Williamson. Again, DJ Williamson coming down from D2 last season, Unsafe Release being a new sign-up. I think I'm not too sure if he was actually in the 24-hour race. I don't think he was, but again, one that I haven't particularly seen what his pace is looking like. Bit of a mysterious one to try and keep our eye out on. So again, it's going to be interesting to see who is going to come out on top of these teams, because majority of these guys, as I said, moved down from D2 last season. A few guys are new sign-ups that we don't know anyone's any of their pace on at all, so it's hard to judge obviously like where they're going to be in this division. And the final team, which is the one that I think could also be a contender for the constructors, we have got Ben JS, aka Tin Can, and it's Cohen. I know it's said differently, but I'm not going to say it that way. But yeah, no, these two, Ben coming down from D2 last season, Cohen, I've raced him a few times as well. Both pretty quick lads. Again, ones we'll have to try and keep our eyes out on, because I know Ben was sort of potentially top end of D2, mid to top end of D2 last season. It's just because obviously, same with Velocity as well, both of those guys, mid to top end of D2. So we'll see how they fare on with a few of the other D3 guys. Cohen, as I said, new sign up as well. He came from the 24-hour race, so it's good to see that obviously again getting more traction from that. And we'll see how Cohen ends up getting on in regards to that as well. But any of you guys got any say on a few of these guys for D3?
Well, I think the Racing Points are the clear favourites for constructors, and probably the championship as well, in my opinion. Either
Bryn Mike and Ton Almanac, that's probably going to be the most word said in a party per race, because those two, I can tell you can talk. But they're going to... I really like that team. Unsafe Release, I know that he's done comms before in other leagues and stuff, so I think he's obviously invested in the game, so it wouldn't surprise me if he was quite quick. Again, I don't really know much about his pace. But yeah, obviously Velocity fancies a good dig at this title, I suspect. But with Tin Can in there, and if Tiggerby starts, I don't know what's happened to Tiggerby practicing, and same with Ton actually. I really like this division. It's really quick, and there's some of this I've just noticed. Tiggerby and MCR are probably the only two people that have teamed that are teammates that have raced in 3 different divisions in this league and its existence. They've both been in D1, D2, and D3. So
That's a bit mad.
that's pretty crazy.
Next up, D4.
I think they'll have raced each other in every single one of those divisions as well at some point. So, no, that's quite cool. But yeah, I don't know. If I had to pick a winner, I wouldn't say Tin Can or Cohen, because it wouldn't surprise me if actually either of them went up to D2. I'd probably say Tom. I'm not saying that because he's my teammate, but I think if he does practice like he's threatening to, he's quicker than me. So
you might have to jump to D2 as well then. Potential on that one. Larkin, any say on any of these guys for D3?
I am going to put my money on a bit of a dark horse team. I like that Ferrari pairing of Starger and Aledi. I think Starger got a bit unlucky in D2 last season, but still had some decent results, and Aledi looked pretty quick in D3. The most sort of prominent members of LOE, but I think they'll be up there.
yeah,
Probably would say they are a bit of a dark horse as well, along with obviously Breadbank and Wakursk. As I said, Wakursk picking up his pace at the end of last season. Breadbank as well, shown that he can sort of keep up with the top guys that ended up getting promoted into Division 2, so maybe it's his time to shine. Obviously a few guys that came down from D2 as well. We'll see how they opt with a few of these other guys, but that is Division 3. Moving on over to Division 2, and I am going to let the Irishman of Gary take us through that one.
Right, so we're going to start off with the William team. We have a newbie with 2 new guys in Division 2. We have Eloise McCrew and Eloise Big W, the Williams. So that's an interesting team. I know Big W's been struggling a lot. He's made it quite vocal. And then next team we have the sorry, what?
tough.
Tough, yeah, tough. Next up is the Alphas. We have 2 new guys. I think these joined from the 24-hour race. I'm not too sure though. We have Matty Pedersen and Super Gamer. I have no idea on those 2 guys' pace, so it'll be interesting to see how they get on. Then next team we have McLaren. We have Adri moving up, the D3 champ. Teaming up with last season's runner. No, I wasn't runner-up. Sorry, J. Cole, yourself. That's it.
Bit of a dig.
Bit of a dig. Sorry. Pretty formidable pairing, definitely one to look out for. And then after them you have the Toro Rosso of Dylan and Carmentis. Again, I wouldn't know too much about these guys. I know Carmentis is supposed to be a bit quick on his day. As for Dylan, I have no idea really. Then next we have the Renos. I like this team. We have V5 and Harry. I'm not even going to try and pronounce his name, I'm just going to call him Harry. Yeah, so be interesting to see how they get on. Then you have the Haas, 2 Finnish brothers dropping down from D1 with YHYY and Rick. Really, really good team. And then you have the Dream Team. You have the racing points of me and Nico. Didn't want this car. Organiser benefits and all that. Didn't even pick this car as my top 3, but yeah. Moving on. In the Red Bull we have Cookie Games and QVR Maledictix. Cookie's moving down from Division 1. Very quick driver, if he can finish the lap, but as we've seen in D1 you can't really do that. And for Maledictix, I think he proved to be quite a driver last season. I think he be one again to look out for. Then in the Ferrari we have Mark and Killer. Really good team there. As you can see, Mark getting the organiser benefits there and getting the car he wanted. Like J. Cole did. Like me. And then rounding off in the Mercedes, it's the last season's D2 Constructor winners, ILRT Dan and B Morgan. Very good team. Good to see them staying together. So, yeah, that's car choices. Very tight division.
I can't see a clear winner or loser. It's mad. Like,
it's very tight, and then big W.
But you look down that list of drivers, there's about 15 of them that you can see winning a race. It's crazy.
It's crazy.
I think McCrew's a favourite in a lot of people's eyes. I'm really intrigued to see his pace. I really am, because he might blow everyone out of the water. I don't know, but I've never seen anyone make Rick look a mug. Do you know what I mean? Like, or for that matter, Morgan or YXYY or Killer. I am Morgan
about season 1.
Oh, shit.
But like, I don't know. It's going to be hard to look really obviously above other people in this division.
Yeah, it's like it's just gonna be who can be most consistent. If I'm honest, like you can pick a hat out, you can pick a name out of the hat who would win a race, and whatever name came out of the hat, you wouldn't be surprised. Like,
No.
there's that many people that can win a race. It's gonna be interesting. I think it's the closest division we have, if I'm honest.
Go on, let's all predict a winner.
Can you?
Can I pick myself?
We'll look back on this, and if one of us gets it right, I'll be amazed.
I want to pick myself, but I can't.
I'm going to say Morgan.
That's a bold claim.
That is a very bold claim.
Why?
I know he's moved from pad to wheel.
Yeah.
So at the
I'll
start,
practice with him.
at the start he's not going to be up to par with everyone. But midway through the season, I feel like it's where it's just gonna click, and then that's where it's gonna go.
Alright, okay, I'll change my mind. I'll go Rick.
You took my pick. I'll go someone else then. I'll say Killer.
I'm actually gonna say Cookie. I think he's quick, like very quick. He just needs to keep it consistent, but he's very quick. As long as he as long as he keeps it on the track, I think Cookie will win it.
Can't crash into other people if you're 10 seconds ahead of them, can you?
Exactly.
That's true.
But I mean, to be honest with you, I'd say a dark horse pairing is more. A dark horse pairing is V5 and Harry. They both teamed with each other, not in this league, in a different league, but they were pretty quick in that other league. And Harry, I know, has picked up his pace since season 2. V5, I know, is dropping down from D1 into Division 2, so we'll see how he opts to. With obviously the likes of the guys that were in D2 last season. V5 and Harry, I would say, is a dark horse pairing. But I mean, Rick and YXYY, I feel like would probably be the ones that win the constructors. To be honest with you. But you got any say on this one as well then, Larkin?
I will say YXYY to win the whole thing. I think out of the D1 drivers that have come down, I think he finished higher last season, and he looked pretty good at times. I'm hoping that he'll carry it on, but it's just so hard.
We all live in the moment.
It's still side by side. This is quality racing between the pair of them.
The overtake.
Looks like in between the two of them. Ben will do the double overtake.
The disaster.
Oh, they touch!
Unbelievable! He's got a puncture.
Oh no!
the elation.
This is going to be very tight. Unbelievable. What a result there.
Now it's time to make your own legend.
I think he's done enough.
That is the overtake of the season for me.
Now moving on to our top division for Division 1, I'm going to let Larkin take the lead on this one as well.
Okie dokie. First off, big shout out to all the D1 drivers. Out of the 10 pairs, I've managed to give 7 of you your first pick car choice. Starting with 2 new guys, the NWS pairing of Gabriel and Zero. They are going to be in the Haas. I don't know anything about those two, so it's going to be interesting to see how they do. Next up is Toxic and NSX Lion. Toxic being a D2 driver last season, but has looked extremely quick in the practice sessions for this season. And Lion being a new driver, I think he took part in the 24-hour race and looked very quick in that. Those two are going to be going into the Williams. Next up, we've got the first of 2 QVR pairings. It's Campbell and Cohen. They are in the Red Bull. Campbell obviously being the D2 champion from last season. He'll be hoping to carry on his good form. Next pairing, we've got Chapelele and Caesar. Chapelele being a last-minute replacement for Bullet Boy, who's had to drop down to being a reserve. Caesar being a D2 driver from last season, who's moved up to D1. They are going to be in the Racing Point. Next up, it's Harrison David, a driver that everyone knows, raced for the first half or so of last season and was on track for a good title battle and then dropped out. And he's joined by Boualem, who I don't think many of us know. I think he's French and also looks like he'll be there or thereabouts come the end of the season. They'll be in the Mercedes. Next pair is myself and Neo. I'm sure Neo's going to be struggling to come to terms with being a number 2 driver in that pairing. He's managed to persuade me not to take the pink car. We will be in the Ferrari. Next pair is the other QVR pairing. It's Mr. Best Personality of Dakar and Verstappen. They are the only pair who are not getting any of their car choices. They're lumbered with the Toro Rosso, so sorry guys. Third to last pair, it's the Spanish pairing of Cantera and Joom, both 3 quick drivers. I think they'll be disappointed a little bit with how they did last season. They were high up in the standings, but probably should have been even higher. They are in the Alfa Romeo. Penultimate pairing is a double organised pairing of New Waluigi and Yari. They have got the Renault, 2 very consistent drivers, which leaves the final pairing of the probably favourites to win the Constructors, last year's champion of Montana, with Spine, and they are going to be in the McLaren. What do you think?
I just noticed something. Every got their car choice at me.
Funny that.
Every got the number 1 car choice at me.
I'm still in disbelief.
Like Toxic and Lion were just in the 24-hour race, they were trying to kill each other. Now they're teammates. So
How has that happened? That's insane.
It's interesting to say the least. I tell you what though, a pairing I'm actually kind of looking forward to seeing is, and I know I'm not saying this just because he was my teammate last season, but Campbell and Cohen. I know that both of those guys, I think they're the only pairing that came up from D2 last season that's actually paired up with each other. Campbell I know and same with Cohen as well, both of them being very quick on their day. Campbell I know loves a bit of practicing as well, so if he just literally keeps up practicing how much he is, I know he can be up within that top 5. It's also just whether it's the QVR pairing versus the other QVR pairing is another one that I'm going to be interested on, trying to keep my eye on. but I mean, I'd say Montana and Spine, I feel like, as you said, are probably a clear favourite to win the Constructors, and we'll see if anyone can dethrone them. I know Cantera and Doom as well. They've been with each other for God knows how long. They're probably a married couple by now. So again, those guys, as you said, Larkin, they're a bit disappointed how they were. Probably how they were last season. They could have been a bit higher. Neo as well, actually driving the full season in the Ferrari. I know he was he managed to finish second in the end in the championship, so he is definitely wanting to try and keep our eye on to see if he can actually.
Can I just point out that you've mentioned Montana and Spine together, Cantera and Doom together, and then just Neo.
Just Neo.
I like that team though.
And you of course as well. Like
Thank you.
You picked up the pace a lot as well, because I know you turned off your traction control as well. So I know you've definitely picked up the pace, and I know you've been basically consistent top 5, top 6 within those last few races as well. So again, another one is another pairing. It's one we have to keep our eye out on. But as I said, I'm also looking forward to QVR versus QVR battle.
I don't think the biggest team is Montana and Spine. I don't. I think it's Harry and Bulalan, or maybe the two NWS guys.
Aren't they all NWS before though, aren't they?
Well, yeah. To be fair, yeah.
So you got QVR against QVR and NWS against the NWS.
And then Cantera and Doom, who basically are LOE lifers as well. But no, and then the NSX guys aren't teaming. But Toxic and Lion could be a good team as well. Toxic's really picked up like unbelievably. I mean, he'd probably count himself.
Yeah, he looks very, very fast.
I don't know. Again, I think there's no. We talk about D2, but Yari's incredible at Monaco. I know that. He'd always feature somewhere like there. Everyone's got their own tracks here, to a degree.
Yeah.
Larkin knows how to win races, especially if it's like wet or changing conditions. He's tends to have a slight more intelligence than the average alien. Frankly, sorry, aliens, but there's circumstances here that I can just see. And Naluigi as well. Naluigi's an absolute opportunist when it comes to like changing variables and stuff. So I like this division just as much as D2.
Yeah, it's a solid division. Like, you probably say Montana's favourite to win it again, but like, there's just so many people behind him like that could win it as well. Like, I'd be surprised if someone else won it.
Also, another one as well, Lion versus Montana. When I've raced with these guys in like a few practice sessions, they've both just been going at it. I don't know if that's just because Montana was just waiting for him, but Lion I know is very quick. And obviously if it's NSX versus NSX, that's also going to be very interesting. Toxic picked up his pace as well. So I said Montana and Spine are more than likely going to be the favourites for it, and I know a lot of people are probably going to say that they're the favourites for it. It is a tough one to call. It is a very tough one to call. I think if the Spaniards of Doom and Cantera pick up their pace like they have done, I feel like that they could also be favourites to win the Constructors.
They'll be there. They'll be there every race.
It depends how much practice they're going to put in as well. I know we're obviously only in pre-season at the moment, but Spine has done 0 practice, I think, and Cantera and Doom seem to be doing basically every day practicing.
Yeah. But that is all of the car reveals done for all 4 divisions. I think this will more than likely be coming out after the pre-season race. So pre-season race would have happened yesterday. At the time of recording, it would be a bit later on, but time of upload, it will probably be yesterday. So hopefully nothing too drastic has changed. It's more just seeing how people's pace was. If anything does change, I'll leave it at the end of this video anyway. But that is going to be it for the car reveals for each division. Does anyone want to make a bold prediction on each of these 4 divisions? I know we sort of done it briefly, but anyone want to make a little brief prediction on them?
Montana D1, Killer D2, D3, who was it? I'm saying Edo D3 and Trubisky D4. They're my 4.
Mark?
Montana, Rick, Ton, and Smitsky.
Larkin?
Montana, YHYY, Starger, and Alt Maverick.
Out of nowhere.
Fair enough.
Wait, when it comes true.
I'd probably say mine. I'm actually gonna go out on a limb. I'm gonna say Lion, Rick, Cohen, and Ghost. I think will be the ones for D4. Yeah, Ghost I reckon will win D4. But there are predictions. Let's see if people can actually keep it with that. But yeah, as I said, that's the car reveals. Thank you everyone for watching that one. And we will catch you guys for the first race at Australia on the 11th of January.
Growth, the process of increasing in size. A feature that is both individual, intrinsic, and throughout nature.
This is going to be so interesting, you know.
This is the moment we have been waiting for.
I'm feeling it now.
What has come before is now consigned to the history books. This new decade brings new challenges, new rivals, falling giants, and new beginnings.
Bang, bang, bang. 3 shots to the heart. Oh, in the back end. Oh, no.
Those who are climbing will meet. Who will fall by the wayside, and who will embody growth.
There's still wheel to wheel!
That is unbelievable.
Season 3, League of Europe, Grow or Fade.